Hi there, this is Deva Nirguna from Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, this wonderful power spot that we have, part of the light workers grid that we have here on the planet. And I've been asked to talk about the upcoming new moon eclipse on the 14th and how that leads into this amazing solstice and grand conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter on the 21st of December. So we're talking astrology here, and astrology is like a secret language, you know. It's if you have a key, then you can look at life very differently. It opens the door to much knowledge, and it's a hermetic language, and that's we need to unlock that sealed box of astrology. So let's try and do that now with this powerful week that we're looking towards. All year you've been feeling this amazing buildup of energy. And as an image, we can say that the energy wave really breaks on the solstice with this meeting of Saturn and Jupiter. The planets have frequencies and harmonies, and you can think of astrology more like a planetary kind of music, and your chart maybe fits in that in a certain note. Sometimes there's harmony and disharmony, but we're all in this huge energetic now of energy of 2020, and as I say, it's leading to this kind of peak, and we need to be ready because this wave kind of breaks or initiates on the solstice. So let's look at this upcoming week, and it starts with a new moon eclipse. The new moon eclipse, what is an eclipse? When the earth and the sun and the moon are in a line, and the moon is between the sun and the earth and passes exactly over the sun, this is an eclipse. This happens about 28 times in 18 years. And you can see this energy of the moon passing over the sun. It's like a breakup of the constant energy that the sun's sending to us. And it breaks up these periods of about a year and a half into a rhythm. It's like an alternating current. So an eclipse is a very powerful start moment for the way that the energy of the sun is interrupted in a sense. So a new moon eclipse is one of these powerful portals of beginning things. So we have a new moon eclipse happening in the sign of Sagittarius. And the galactic center is in the sign of Sagittarius. So in one sense, this new moon eclipse is pointing us towards a very powerful energy that is at the center of our galaxy. If we understand that the planets are part of this big body of logos called the solar system. The sun, we know has a kind of an intelligence and a logos. And if you see the planets moving around in their different rhythms and frequencies as it moves through through the Milky Way, then this energy of the planets are kind of like making music to our journey through the Milky Way. And so this emphasis towards the galactic center is a very powerful activation energy on the new moon. This new moon is happening in the sign of Sagittarius. So astronomically, this is pointing towards the galactic center. But the 12 signs of the zodiac represent kind of the plane of the movement of the sun through the year. We see that the sun as this line as it moves across the sky. Actually, we see it just as a point, but hidden behind a line, you can see there's a plane of existence, and the zodiac represents the division of that plane into 12 kind of countries and zones. And we can take a walk through these signs of the zodiac, and it's a developmental story. And Sagittarius comes out of the Day of the Dead, the time of the year when the life of the year is starting to be reborn, and there's an emergence in Sagittarius. The sign of Sagittarius is a fire sign, and this leads us through the week, this new moon in Sagittarius, towards the solstice. The solstice is the shortest day of the year. It's the end of Sagittarius, and it's the beginning of a manifesting of a new year. So the light's been growing, the awareness grows through Sagittarius, and then it starts to emerge and take form in the earth sign of Capricorn that starts on the winter solstice. So the solstice every year is an enormous beginning place, and we have many rituals. The Yule fire starts the emergence of the light again, and the dance of the year starts to grow. So the solstice is always a very important moment. The thing is that this solstice also happens to be a conjunction between the two planets of Saturn and Jupiter. Here's a NASA shot taken earlier in the year of Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and the Sun, all in a line at sunset. And Saturn and Jupiter are visible planets. We can see them. And we've seen them for many, many thousands of years. And we've observed, and that's part of the meaning of astrology, is we look at the planets out there and we watch them come, and we have observed, well, what's been going on? How do I feel about this? What events are happening? And this is the meaning that we get in astrology from observation. It's an amazing first step of man's view. It's like sacred geometry. Sacred gives meaning to the geometry, the earth view, the geometry from earth. And here we can see Saturn and Jupiter up there in the sky. And they're in the land of the sign of Capricorn. This is an earth sign. This is where we manifest our structures, our institutions, our constitutions happen in Capricorn. Now, the thing about Saturn and Jupiter coming together, they're like characters. You know, if we look at Saturn, you know, here's Saturn. Look how organized and beautiful and ring-like is Saturn, you know. And so Saturn takes 28 years to go around, and Saturn represents, from our view on Earth, the way that we give structure to things. When we're little, this can be the authorities in our life which are telling us what to do. But as we become friends with the energy of Saturn, which strikes chords in us, the planets strike chords in us, so we can use their voices, their influences as a kind of a guide to us. And how Saturn is in the chart and where it moves is a guide to us, actually. And Saturn gives us organizational abilities. Now, Jupiter is a very big, expansive character in the zodiac. You know, it's the biggest planet. I mean, the words that we use for Jupiter is generous, jovial Jupiter. In one sense, Jupiter is almost its own, has almost got its own radiance. In fact, it feels like an energy, Jupiter, of emergence, of understanding, of power, of growth, of exploration. It's a very powerful energy that we have, Jupiter. And um, Jupiter goes around in 12-year cycles. So these planets of Jupiter and Saturn, they come together every 20 years. And so there we are, you know, looking, oh, look, there's come Saturn and Jupiter again together. And we ask, well, what's been going on since the last time they came together? And we've observed this over thousands of years. And it's a time of re-examination when we can get the wisdom of Jupiter and restructure it with Saturn. Now, here's a funny thing about these 20-year conjunctions, and that is that they happen for 240 years in the same element of the signs of the zodiac. The signs of the zodiac can be divided. Here's another key to unlock some knowledge into the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And so Saturn and Jupiter will meet in the same element for 240 years, and they've been doing that for the last 240 years in Earth. And since the Industrial Revolution, which we can talk about, the discovery of Uranus also, technology, this has been happening in Earth, and we've been mining the Earth, and we've been taking things from Gaia, from the Earth Mother. This conjunction is called a grand conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter because it happens after the sun enters into Capricorn on the solstice. 12 hours later, Jupiter and Saturn meet, but they both have moved into the new sign for them of Aquarius. And this is a new element of air. So this is really birthing the next 240 years of air element. And if you imagine this like new systems, Saturn being born, new understandings of knowledge being born, it's definitely a frequency raising event. And what happens when you're born? You take in air. You activate. So the air element is being activated on this conjunction, on the solstice. We're giving new form and new air, new life to things. And this activation energy has been said it's a step from 3D to 5D. Well, frequency up changes need a little time for the patterning to set in. But if we can initiate right at the beginning here, as I said, this is like a huge wave that's been building through this momentous 2020 year. And we can imagine that it's built up, and now on the solstice, it starts to break. So if we're prepared with our surfboards and our things to ride out this wave, our practice, our view, that's why we're going to be doing strong ceremonies on the new moon that builds up to this strong energy, and also on the solstice when the energy starts to break, and we can start to ride this out, you know, for a very, very long time to come. So this is a very powerful meeting of energies that's happening. As an astrologer, it's some of the most intense times that I can imagine. Having looked through the ephemeris, which is like the mathematics of where it is, I marked this time many years ago. And so to experience this is really, really incredible. And we've seen how momentous this year has been in the buildup of the energy. You know, where this happens on your own chart, now that's going to have an individual aspect to it. And that's where you start to untap some of the deeper keys of astrology by understanding what it is that is your that is what it is that is your note, that is your chart. So I hope this has got through a little bit of the importance and the power and the tremendous potentiality of what we can do ceremonially in this next week.